When I was younger, I believed life was simple, very simple. I thought if your family had money, then life had no real problems. You could sleep late, eat well, travel anywhere, buy anything, and enjoy every day without worrying about tomorrow. And honestly, that was exactly how I lived. My father was rich, he had a successful business, he worked hard, but I never cared about that. I only saw the money, I only saw the comfort, I only saw the easy life. If I wanted new clothes, I got them. If I wanted an expensive phone, I got it. If I wanted to go out with friends, I went. If I wanted to travel, my father paid. I never asked where the money come from. I never asked how many hours my father worked. I never asked what problem he faced. To me, money was just there. My friends sometimes said, "You should think about your future." I laughed. Future? Why should I worry about the future? My father had money, my house was big, my life was comfortable. What else did I need? Every morning I woke up late. Sometimes breakfast was already waiting for me. I watched TV, scrolled on my phone, listened to music, and wasted hours without even realizing it. In the evening, I went out with friends. We ate at expensive restaurants, wore branded clothes, and talked like life would always stay the same. I thought I was lucky, but I did not know one thing. Luck can give you comfort, but it cannot give you character. And very soon, life was going to teach me that lesson. One evening, my father called me into his room. His voice was calm, but his face was serious. "Sit down," he said. I smiled and sat in front of him. I thought maybe he wanted to discuss something normal, maybe some family matter. Maybe he wanted to give me advice like always. But this time something was different. He looked at me for a few seconds without speaking. Then he said, "Son, you are not a child anymore." I smiled and said, "Father, why are you saying this? I am fine." He did not smile. He said, "You need to start thinking about your life." I leaned back and laughed a little. "My life is good, father. I have everything I need." He shook his head slowly. "No," he said. "You have everything because I work. You enjoy comfort because someone else carries the burden." Those words felt strange. I had never thought about life like that. I said, "Father, why are you worried? Nothing is going to change." He looked at me deeply and said, "One day everything can change, and when that day comes, money alone will not save you." I did not understand him. Honestly, I did not even try to understand. I thought he was just in a serious mood. Maybe he had some stress from business. Maybe he was thinking too much. So I stood up, smiled, and said, "Don't worry, father. Everything will be fine." He looked at me and said only one thing: "We will see." That night, I went out with my friends again. I laughed, I spent money, I enjoyed myself. But I did not know that my old life was already ending. The next morning, I woke up late as usual. I picked up my phone. There were messages from my friends. They wanted to go out again. I smiled, got ready, wore my best clothes, sprayed expensive perfume, and walked downstairs. But in the living room, my father was waiting for me. He was already dressed. His face was serious again. "Come with me," he said. I was confused. "Where are we going?" I asked. He did not answer. He simply walked towards the car. I followed him. The drive was silent. At first, I looked out of the window without caring, but slowly I started noticing things I had ignored my entire life. I saw people walking quickly with tired faces. I saw workers cleaning the street. I saw men pushing heavy carts. I saw small shopkeepers opening their shops early in the morning. I saw women carrying bags, rushing somewhere. These people were awake before me. They were already working while I was still thinking about breakfast. After some time, my father stopped the car in an area I had never visited before. The buildings were old, the roads were dusty, the people looked tired, but they were still moving, still working, still trying. My father pointed towards a man selling fruit on the roadside. "Look at him," he said. I looked. The man was arranging apples and bananas on a wooden cart. His shirt was faded. His face was covered with sweat, but he kept working. My father said, "He wakes up before sunrise. He stands here the whole day. Sometimes he earns enough, sometimes he doesn't. But he still comes back every morning because his family depends on him." I did not say anything. Then my father pointed towards a small shop. Inside, an old woman was sitting with a sewing machine. Her hands were moving slowly, but she did not stop. "She has worked for many years," my father said. "Her back hurts, her eyes are weak, but she still works because life does not wait for anyone." I kept looking at her. For the first time, I felt uncomfortable. Not because the place was poor, but because I realized how blind I had been. I had lived in the same city, but I had never seen these people. I had never thought about their lives. I had never understood their struggle. My father looked at me and said, "You see, son, life is not easy for everyone. Some people work every day just to survive, and you have lived for years without working even one honest day." Those words hit me. I wanted to defend myself. I wanted to say something, but I had no answer. For the first time in my life, I felt small. We got back into the car. This time, I did not look at my phone. I kept thinking about the fruit seller. I kept thinking about the old woman. I kept thinking about my father's words. After a while, the car stopped again. This time, we were outside my father's office. I had been there before, but only for short visits. Usually, I went there when I needed money or when my father asked me to come for some formal reason. But that day, I entered the office differently. The office was full of movement. Phones were ringing, people were walking quickly, papers were being passed from one desk to another. Some workers looked tired, some looked stressed, some were talking to clients, some were solving problems. I had always thought my father just sat in a big chair and made money. But now I saw something else. I saw pressure. I saw responsibility. I saw work. My father took me to his office and asked, "Do you know what I do every day?" I said, "You run the business." He nodded. "Yes, but do you know what that means?" I stayed quiet. He continued, "It means waking up early. It means making decisions that affect many families. It means solving problems before they become disasters. It means carrying stress that no one sees." Then he looked at me and said, "And I did all this so you could have a better life. But I made one mistake." I looked at him. He said, "I gave you comfort, but I did not teach you the value of struggle." I felt something heavy inside my chest. Maybe guilt, maybe shame, maybe truth. Then he opened a drawer and took out a small notebook. He placed it in front of me. "From tomorrow," he said, "you will work here." I laughed nervously. "Me? Work?" He did not laugh. "Yes, you will start from the bottom." I thought he was joking. "But father, I don't need to work." He looked at me and said, "That is exactly why you need to work." I had no answer. Then he said something I never forgot. "One day I will not be here. On that day, you will either stand on your own feet or you will fall with everything I built." That sentence silenced me. For the first time, I imagined life without my father, and suddenly the future did not feel easy anymore. The next morning, I woke up early. It felt strange. My body wanted to stay in bed, my mind wanted to return to my old life, but I had no choice. I got ready and went downstairs. My father was waiting with a small lunch bag. "This is for you," he said. I looked at it and asked, "Lunch? Can't I eat outside?" He said, "Workers bring their lunch. Today you are a worker." That sentence hurt my ego, but I took the bag. When we reached the office, my father did not take me to his big cabin. Instead, he took me to a small work area filled with desks. A serious looking man came towards us. "This is Mr. William," my father said. "You will work under him." Then my father left, just like that. Mr. William looked at me and said, "Come." No smile, no special treatment, no respect, because I was the owner's son. He gave me a small desk, a chair, and a large stack of papers. Check these, he said. Find mistakes in the numbers. Mark them clearly. I looked at the papers. There were so many. All of them. I asked. He nodded. And work carefully. Mistakes cost money. I sat down. At first, I thought it would be easy, just papers, just numbers. But after 1 hour, my head started hurting. The numbers looked the same. My eyes felt heavy. My back started aching. I wanted to get up. I wanted to check my phone. I wanted to go home. But everyone around me was working. No one was laughing loudly. No one was wasting time. No one was acting like life was a game. They were focused. So I tried to focus too. By lunchtime, I was exhausted. I opened my lunch bag. It was simple food. No restaurant, no cold drink, no fancy dish. Just simple food. I ate quietly and looked around. The other workers ate quickly. Some talked about school fees. Some talked about rent. Some talked about family problems. Then, after a short break, they returned to work. No drama, no complaints, just life. That day, I felt something I had never felt before: respect. Respect for people who work every day without applause. Respect for people who earn every rupee with effort. The afternoon was even harder. Mr. Williams checked my work and found many mistakes. Do it again, he said. I felt angry. No one had spoken to me like that before. But I swallowed my anger and started again. By evening, my hands were tired, my back hurt, my mind felt empty. When I walked out of the office, I saw my father waiting. He did not ask many questions. He simply looked at me and smiled. For the first time, I smiled back differently. Not because life was easy, but because I had survived my first real day of work. The next morning, I woke up early again. My body was sore, my eyes still felt tired. I wanted to sleep more, but then I remembered the fruit seller. I remembered the old woman. I remembered the workers. They did not stop because they were tired, so I got up. When I reached the office, Mr. William was already waiting. You were slow yesterday, he said. Today, work faster. I wanted to argue, but I didn't. I sat down and started. This time I tried harder. I read every number carefully. I checked every paper twice. I made fewer mistakes. By noon, I finished more work than the previous day. Mr. Williams checked it and said only one word: better. That one word felt strange. It felt better than buying new shoes. It felt better than eating at expensive restaurant. It felt better than wasting money with friends. Because for the first time I had earned that word. During lunch I sat with the workers. They did not treat me like a rich boy. They treated me like one of them. They talked, they laughed, they shared small stories from their lives. I listened. And the more I listened, the more I understood. Everyone was carrying something. Some were carrying family responsibility, some were carrying financial pressure, some were carrying dreams for their children, some were carrying pain, but still showing up every day. I realized something important. A comfortable life had made me careless, but working with real people was making me human. Days passed, then weeks passed. At first, every day felt difficult. My body hurt, my mind felt tired, I made mistakes. Mr. William corrected me again and again. But slowly something changed. I started waking up before my alarm. I started reaching office on time. I started understanding the work. I started asking questions. I started learning. And with every passing day, I felt less like a spoiled son and more like a man. One day, Mr. William gave me a difficult file. Let's see if you can handle this, he said. Earlier, I would have been afraid, but that day, I took the file and said, I'll try. I worked on it for hours. I checked every detail. I corrected every mistake. I did not trust. I did not complain. At the end of the day, Mr. William reviewed it. He looked at me and said, not bad. Just 2 words. But those 2 words meant more to me than all the expensive gifts I had ever received. Because gifts were given to me, but respect had to be earned. Months passed. I changed more than I expected. I stopped wasting money without thinking. I stopped buying things just to impress people. I stopped laughing at advice. I stopped believing that comfort was the same as success. I began watching my father closely. I saw how early he reached the office. I saw how patiently he handled problems, I saw how carefully he listened before making decisions. Earlier, I thought my father was rich because he was lucky. Now I understood. He was rich because he was disciplined. He was strong because he carried responsibility. He was respected because he had built something through years of effort. One evening, my father called me into his office again. This time, I was not serious. I entered quietly and stood in front of him. He looked at me for a long moment. Then he said, "You have changed." I did not know what to say. He continued, "When you started, you were careless. You did not understand work. You did not understand money. You did not understand people." I lowered my eyes. Then he said, "But now you are learning." Those words touched my heart because this time his praise was not free. I had earned it. Then he opened his drawer and took out a small key. He placed it in my hand. I looked at him confused. "What is this?" I asked. He said, "Your office." I was shocked. "My office?" He nodded. "It is small, but it is yours. You are ready for more responsibility." I looked at the key in my palm. It was tiny, but it felt heavy because it was not just a key, it was trust. The next day, I entered my new office. It was not big, it was not fancy, but it was mine. There was a desk, a chair, a few files, and a window. I sat down and looked around. For the first time, I did not feel like someone had given me something. I felt like I had earned a chance, and that feeling was powerful. But responsibility was not easy. I made mistakes. I faced pressure. Some days were stressful. Some decisions were confusing. Sometimes I failed. But this time I did not run away. I worked. I learned. I improved. Slowly I understood what my father wanted to teach me from the beginning. He did not want to punish me. He wanted to prepare me. He did not want to take away my comfort. He wanted to give me strength. He did not want me to live under his shadow forever. He wanted me to stand in my own light. Today, when I look back at my old self, I feel embarrassed. I thought life was only about comfort. I thought money was only for spending. I thought success meant having everything easily. But I was wrong. Life is not built by comfort. Life is built by discipline. Money is not just something you spend. Money is effort, time, risk, pressure, and sacrifice. And success is not what your father gives you. Success is what you become when you finally learn to work for yourself. My father gave me many things in life: a home, food, education, comfort. But the greatest thing he ever gave me was not money, it was the lesson that money without responsibility can destroy a person, and work, even when it is hard, can rebuild him. Now I am ready for the future, not because my father has money, not because I have an office, not because life is easy. I am ready because I finally understand the value of effort. I finally understand the dignity of work. And I finally understand that the easy life is not always the best life. Sometimes the hard life is the one that teaches you who you really are.